seriously, man. Please. And away we go.
We are live. You are looking live at the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Judd's Camp Notes coming at you to start this Feedback Friday edition of the show. So we'll do Judd's Camp Notes. We'll sprinkle in some Feedback Friday. And then if we don't get to all the feedback stuff, we'll just do a bonus feedback episode for tomorrow too. So we will get to your feedback, and then a snake draft of the week to wrap up today's episode. Judd's been out there grinding, lathering up in sunscreen, just hammering out notes, watching cornerbacks go down with injuries. We'll get to all of it after you stop and get a refreshing beverage from Quick Trip, or at least tell us how we can.
Well, and guess what? With me driving from SLP to the Vikings facility in Eagan, it's a must to stop at Quick Trip because guess what? Quick Trip is not only the best place to stop because it's convenient, but it's also the best place to stop because it's not just a convenience store. It is really a grocery store. And you're looking there, if you are watching this, as Phil said, looking live at all of the options at Quick Trip. Look at that. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're not just talking snacks. We're talking great service. We're talking courteous milk, bread, produce, you name it, gasoline, deals on gasoline. Quick Trip has it, and that is why you should stop at Quick Trip. Plus, support those who support us. Quick Trip, of course, the official presenting sponsor of Purple Daily, fueling Judd's Camp Notes.
Yes, amen. All right, let's waste no time. Let's just get right into Judd's Camp Notes here. Yeah,
all right, I got to get them called up.
Oh, so this is digital notes here.
No. Here's the new strategy.
What do you mean you have to get them called up?
On my phone. I had to get them called
up.
Oh,
we knew the show was starting.
Oh, my phone. I'll explain. My phone defaults to the lock.
Oh, so you just had to
they were
Face
locked,
ID and
so
sneak in there.
I don't do Face ID. I do a number.
Oh, wow.
The Face ID is much more secure than the number, though.
Yeah, I'm cool with that, though. I'm cool with that. I'm not doing Face ID.
So
Dawn does that.
Your notes section is locked, is that what you're saying?
No, his phone was locked.
The entire phone locks, and then I just have to go.
Got it.
Bling, bling, bling.
And very secretive if you're locking your notes on your phone like that.
No. I'm not.
Well, Judd's Camp Notes can't be discovered by any competitive media outlets.
Exactly right. But the process now is I write them in a notebook.
The raw notes are in a notebook.
And then I go into the press room because the Vikings get done around 5, and I am not going to drive home on 494, which is war zone right now.
Yes.
So I spend about an hour transcribing my notes and putting them into my...
Got it. So the refined, distilled, final version of the Camp Notes are in the digital form.
Exactly right.
Behind your passcode, your locked phone. Okay.
Amen. All right, so let's go with the lead. Phil broached this briefly, but the cornerback situation, and I have not seen an update on this one, okay? So unlike, and hopefully it means it's not bad, unlike Mekhi Blackman, Shaq Griffin went down in yesterday's practice. Now, here's the situation, because it's not all great. Sam Darnold throws a pick. Shaq Griffin takes about 4 steps, and then hops and goes down. He eventually was able to walk off the field. It didn't look bad, but then again, remember, Mekhi Blackman, as Phil saw on Wednesday, did the same exact thing, and his ACL was torn. Anyway, post-practice, Shaq Griffin was on a cart. Now he had walked off, so they were taking him, I'm guessing, to get an MRI at TCO Performance Center, and I think that the place that they do the exams is way around the corner, so that they weren't going to ask him to walk. Nonetheless, by the end of practice, the 11-on-11 drills, the first team corners included Duke Shelley, who just got here, and Andrew Booth Jr., who in my opinion might have been a long shot to make the roster when camp opened. So 2 days, 2 guys that you could, well, in Griffin's case, it's unknown. 2 guys that could have been starters. Shaq Griffin is a starter. So the only healthy corner right now, and I'm guessing, given what we saw, that Griffin's certainly not going to practice today. The only healthy starting corner is Byron Murphy Jr., who I think ideally just takes more snaps inside in the slot. So Shaq Griffin now will probably get an update at some point here, but he is the latest injured Viking corner.
So they did add a body yesterday. They added Jacoby Francis, who was an undrafted free agent out of Memphis in 2022. The Texans took him as a UDFA. I think he did get into a game or a couple of games like on special teams.
Sure.
But he's just kind of a depth guy. And Kevin O'Connell was, and you were there, I'm assuming, yesterday. He was talking before practice about how, we want to give the young guys a chance to just fill in the current reps, because this is an opportunity for some of the younger guys to just get more reps, but they do have their eye on outside possibilities. I got to think a Stephon Gilmore, I mean, some of the names we mentioned yesterday, they have to be in contact here, right?
Hope so.
But they also, and we'll get to, there's a question about cap space and what you do with unused cap space in Feedback Friday. They do have like $18 or $20 million in cap space that they could roll over into 2025 if they wanted to. Like if they really wanted to say, you know what, we're not going to pay Stephon Gilmore $5-6 million because we feel like we'd rather save that for someone's, 2025 allotment. It depends on how much you want to make your 2024 team better versus just looking at young guys. Preferably, if it were me, I'd go sign Stephon Gilmore for a few $1 million and roll the ball out.
Yeah. And look, I mean, the Vikings, do I expect them to make the playoffs necessarily? No. Do I think, would I, the sports dad of tanking, like if I see an opportunity to tank, I take it. I don't think this team should tank. Like, I don't think, like literally if you, hopefully Shaq is fine, but if you do cornerback wise, if you just allow nature to take its course, you're going to get burned left and right. And I think this team has too many quality components to suggest tanking. Now, if Jefferson gets hurt in camp and guys start to go down, it might be like, okay, this is not your year. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's a fine line between, okay, your team just flat out sucks and you've got some talent here, but you've got some question marks. That's to me, that's the Vikings.
Yeah. So Shaq Griffin, another one. The cornerback room is reeling the last 5 to 6 weeks.
One more scare from Thursday's practice, and I think that this guy is fine. Tristan Jackson, among many vying for a wide receiver spot, jumped for a pass, came down, appeared to hurt his leg, limped off the field, but returned to practice. So hopefully it's nothing bad. But he is among many, many guys there. This is the undepleted position, wide receiver. So,
and he's on Judd's Mr. Mankato roster, by the way.
Tristan
Jackson.
He is indeed. So I started to cry, but then he came back and I cheered.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yeah. This is training camp. This is training camp, man. I saw the Rams just lost a starting corner to a torn ACL the same day as Mekhi Blackmon went down.
Dude, the Lions lost their kicker to a torn hamstring. This morning, that news came out.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Out for the season. Yeah.
It's brutal.
We're two days in. Brutal. Well, some teams are further in, but we're like a week into training camp.
A week into training camp. Your point is spot on. All right. From the bad to the sexiest thing in training camp.
Oh, wow.
Sports Dad has started to keep track of quarterback snap counts.
Oh, let's go.
All right, folks. That's right. Take a seat. Calm down. Get a drink, because we're about to talk quarterback snap counts.
I want to know how many people are currently standing. Not like jogging or in the gym, but like just standing, listening to or watching Purple Daily.
Yeah, I sometimes stand and watch my TV.
You pace back and forth, waiting for those camp notes.
During games, I will actually get up and get close to my TV standing up. Like if it's a close game.
I'll do one of these. I'll do the hands and the knees if it's a close play, like a third and 10 or like a red zone 4th and goal. Hands are on the knees. Hands are on the knees.
The whistle around your neck.
Yeah.
The visor.
That's a side of you I didn't know. I'm impressed.
Oh yeah.
I'm flat out impressed.
Yeah.
See, I just stand up and stand like this, but I feel I absorb it then. I feel like if I sit down on my couch and watch, it's like I don't absorb it. All right, so quarterback snap counts. So what I'm doing here is I'm not trying to track like completions. I do have notes on that, but I'm not trying to do statistical completions and stuff. There you go. Bad dad joke's great.
Currently walking on my treadmill and standing desk combo, waiting on those snap counts.
Okay.
Let's make people wait a little longer here.
currently standing in the kitchen waiting for a pizza in the oven at this hour.
I love that.
Well, Eastern time zone, you're getting close to 11:30.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
good point.
Right
good
now.
point. Yeah. Good point. Stoop Kid, I'm standing at work right now. You see, Phil Mackey. All these people do stand up. Yep, Jesse's exactly right. I think our wives think we're crazy too. Like Dawn's like, why are you standing up? I'm like, because it's a big moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do here to transition back to the quarterback snap counts is I'm not trying to go after completions. As I said, I've got notes. I'm trying to just literally see how they're breaking up the snap counts because these are the things that I told you going into camp I was so curious about because ordinarily it would have been Kirk gets his, and then the backups might get some. But there wasn't a concern about that. This is very different. Sam Darnold, 2 sessions, broken up by a 7-on-7 session of 11-on-11 yesterday. So Sam Darnold in 11-on-11 drills got 14 snaps. In 7-on-7, he got 8 snaps. Okay. So we've got a total of 22 snaps. Now, that's not surprising, but then the question becomes, okay, but you said you're going to get J.J. McCarthy a bunch of work too. J.J. McCarthy actually got 15 snaps in 11-on-11 and 4 in 7-on-7. So Darnold gets 22. McCarthy gets 19. So we are getting very close. In fact, by my count, McCarthy got 1 more 11-on-11 snap than Darnold did. And now you're saying, well, who else is Nick Mullins getting any work at all? My God. He got 10 snaps in 11-on-11, 0 in 7-on-7. And 5 of the 10 snaps that he got came on the last period, the last series of practice. So they basically just said, okay, you take these.
Take us home.
Jaron Hall got 0 snaps in 7-on-7, and he got two snaps, 2 very quick snaps in 11-on-11. Here's the difference, though. So the McCarthy and Darnold snap counts are close. Pretty close. The difference is so far Darnold getting all of the work with the first team, McCarthy all of the work with the second team. So that's the difference in how they're trying to prep Darnold to get him enough work to be ready for opening day.
So interesting. So they're getting both guys work, but they're building exclusive chemistry between Darnold and the ones, Justin Jefferson, Addison. So to this point, J.J. McCarthy has not thrown a pass with the first team offense. He has not taken a snap from what we can tell with the first team offense.
He didn't yesterday, and I don't recall one when you were there on Wednesday. I didn't chart it as closely. Like I've now started just to, as of Thursday, just chart the snaps.
Yeah.
I don't recall him taking snaps with the ones in team periods on Wednesday, but according to my charting yesterday, he did not.
I don't want to jump ahead, but I'll throw 2 questions at you, and then maybe this is a natural segue. I know you're only charting snap counts. You're not necessarily charting their statistics, and Kevin O'Connell thanks you for that. But question 1 is, in general, how do both of them look to your trained sports dad eye?
Yep.
And 2, do you think J.J. McCarthy will take reps at some point in the next couple weeks with the first team offense?
I'll take the second question first. O'Connell said he would. So, yes, I do. I do think that he will take. I think they are very intent, and they have to be, on getting Darnold chemistry and work with the ones, including the offensive line. Like, this goes beyond, hey, can I throw the ball to Jefferson? The answer is yes. Addison? The answer is yes. You've got to get a chemistry and timing on the snaps with Bradbury, and just from what the offensive line is going to provide. So I think the first few days of practice are a lot about that from Darnold's point of view. But yes, I do think that at some point in time here, McCarthy is going to, probably not a lot, but he is going to mix in with the ones. Now to your point about what does my trained eye see? Sports dad sees a lot, and he's taking notes on it. And here's the interesting thing. Sam Darnold, okay? 2 days. I have never covered Sam. I know he's been a flop, but I have never broken down Darnold film or gone and watched a ton of his games. For the second consecutive day. Now, this was in 7-on-7. It was more impressive on Wednesday in 11-on-11. On Wednesday, he hit Justin Jefferson on a beautiful, beautiful pass. Perfect arc on it. Air underneath the ball was perfect.
Beautiful spiral.
Yeah, everything about it was like, oh, wow, that's a hell of an arm and a pass.
The ball was playing classical music as
it
floated into the hands of Justin Jefferson.
Like you could hear it, right?
I heard it, yeah.
Like you could hear it. Well, yesterday, same thing, 7-on-7. So it's not as difficult because there's obviously no pass rush. But he completed almost an identical pass, almost identical yards to Jordan Addison. And it, again, the ball, like a butterfly, just floated in. It's really impressive to watch.
Is it premature to?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because I got some bad news now.
Okay.
I got some bad news. Through 2 days of camp, and again, this is timing and things like that. But if I'm going to give you the bad or the good, I'm going to give you the bad too. The intermediate passes or the short passes continue to be a work. I don't know if this is a Darnold problem or if this is just, hey, he's new, he's trying to get the timing down. Those are obviously all about timing and cohesiveness. But as good as the deep balls are, the short stuff is questionable through 2 days. It could totally change. I'm telling you what I see. On McCarthy, it's a work in progress. Like he's got a good arm. His short passes, I think, have more zip than Sam's do. But the timing, again, is difficult to see because it doesn't look great, but it's 2 practices. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a little bit more fair to talk about, in part because it's with the first team, what we've seen from Sam and those deep passes, which are impressive, and the short passes, which clearly need work. JJ McCarthy's working with the second team, and he literally, you can see him thinking through. Again, I saw this, I think it was in an OTA, Phil. So for the second time since we have been able to watch him practice, he took off running in a 7-on-7 drill.
Oh, really?
But I mean, that's not like there's nothing about that drill that says scramble.
No,
but it's just how he's processing things.
Does he get? I mean, I guess it's good that. So just for the audience, so 7-on-7, if you've maybe not been to a training camp, it's basically just you take out the trenches, you take out the 5 offensive.
Right. You have no. Well,
you there's a center, I guess. So the 7 would be minus the guards and the tackle.
But there's no pressure.
Yep. And then the defense, there's no down lineman, there's no one coming off the edge. It's just a wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs against linebackers, safeties, and cornerbacks drill. So you could sit back there for 6-7 seconds if you wanted to, and like you're not getting sacked because no one's coming to rush you. Right. So I guess on one hand, it's good that he's like going through the mental clock exercise of, oh, okay, this would be the point in the play where I should bolt. I don't know that Kevin O'Connell is telling him to do that or not.
Yeah, it's a good question. I just know that is never part of the ideal. Like you should, if you're ever going to try something like with a pass, do it then. My guess is in that drill, he missed the read that came open, because if you're really playing that position in this league, like that moment is here and gone, right? Like it's not like guys are perpetually open. So that's my guess. But anyway, this is not to criticize or rip him. This is to say that part of it is just going to be, and this is why Darnold is here, a work in progress.
It's also possible that Booth Jr. and Duke Shelley were just blanketing the wide receivers, and there was nowhere to throw the ball.
You mean Pro Bowl cornerbacks? The Duke of Shelley and Andrew Booth.
I think Duke Shelley recognizes how much he's meant to be a Viking. He's been leaning in on social media to the Vikings fan love. But okay. So it's but he's not a train wreck or anything like that. And I saw him make some nice zippy throws, intermediate throws a couple practices ago.
He did throw a pass, and I feel safe sharing this as a McCarthy learning tool. He did throw a pass, and he threw a few of these during the offseason workouts yesterday with the second team, that it was intended for Malik Knowles. Jalen Williams stepped in front of the ball, short pass, had it, it went off his chest. Malik Knowles catches it, takes off. Pretty cool play to watch. But this is all part and parcel of McCarthy has a good arm. And so I think if Darnold could have 2 arms and pick which one, He's got the deep arm. JJ's got the short arm. Like, he puts the ball in there.
Yeah.
But what he needs to learn is, first of all, the timing, and second of all, when he can do that, he's got the Farvian thing at times of trying to throw the ball through the defender. And in this league, it ain't going to work. You can do it sometimes.
I'd rather try and like unwire a little bit too much aggressiveness than try to coach a guy who doesn't know what he's looking at or is afraid to take risks.
Yep.
On the Darnold front, I would just say this. We're 2 practices in. It's awesome that his long ball has been connecting with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but you make your money in the NFL and you score your points through paper cuts, intermediate. You need the haymakers. You can't not throw haymakers. So I'm not saying that those are irrelevant, but you've got to be. It's the 7-yard, 12-yard. It's 3rd and 8. Like, you're not just going to be. It's not 1998. Yep. You're not just going to be launching bombs to Randy Moss every other play.
Yep.
And even that team, like, it's sort of retrospectively over-exaggerated how much that team just threw the ball down the air. Chris Carter was he was a premier intermediate receiver.
Yep.
So intermediate, very important, and I think that's where J.J. McCarthy is going to have to make his hay.
2 more notes for you. At one point in time, with the second-team defense, the safeties were Theo Jackson, not a surprise, and Josh Metellus. Not because he had done a thing wrong, but with the first team, he's this hybrid, right? He's playing here, he's playing there. Bynum and Harrison Smith are your traditional safeties. Jay Ward, I also saw him get some second team work. Now, there's a fighting chance I missed this, but I watched the entire practice pretty closely. I did not see Lewis Cine get second team work. The point is, I don't see a path to him making this roster. Maybe you can trade him for like a conditional pick.
That's crazy.
Perhaps you have to cut him. But just like with the OTAs, everybody and their brother is ahead of this dude on the depth chart. He came in. Dukes, I think, specifically talked to him on Wednesday about this being an opportunity and it might be your last one, blah, blah, blah. I think it's done, guys. I don't see, like, he is, I keep waiting for, okay, let's mix him in. I mean, they literally had Metellus taking just safety-specific reps, I think, to get him that work as well.
Yeah, he should get
But
both.
Just think about that for a second. Your first-round pick, as far as I can tell, is not getting any really what I would call credible reps. I think it's done.
So what is that? So the safety depth chart, it's Harrison Smith is the OG, and then Cam Bynum and Josh Metellus.
Yep.
And then after that, Theo Jackson, Jay Ward, both also ahead of Lewis Cine?
Yep. I'm looking through it right now. Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and Jay Ward's interesting because I think he was a nickel cornerback hybrid in college at times too. I don't know if the Vikings. That's one thing to maybe keep an eye on, not to tell Sports Dad and Judd's Camp Notes what to do.
Appreciate it.
But as they are thin on nickel cornerback options, would they view Jay Ward as an option in there? Just, I'm not saying he would start, but I think it's something he did do in college. Yeah.
Good question. Or
Cam Bynum too. Cam Bynum did it.
Well,
in
and that's a great thought, because if you were up against it, you could actually put Metellus back at a traditional safety if you had to. Put Bynum in the slot. So we'll see, but it's just an update on the fact that I think that this is it for Cine unless something changes drastically. Jay Ward, on him, he took some stupid penalties, as I recall, on special teams last year, but I also think that they see him as a potential improving special teams player. And I think part of the thing with Cine is he's not really a special teams guy. That's what's going to cost him.
That's brutal.
Like, if you could play special teams consistently, I think you'd make the team.
That's brutal.
But you got to play special teams.
Rough. Yeah.
You got to play special teams. All right, last note. Well, it got broken up quick, but we had a dust up.
Oh,
ooh.
Already.
Dust up.
Usually that doesn't happen right away.
AJ Green III, a veteran who the Vikings signed as a free agent, gave up a pass completion to another newcomer, Trent Sherfield Jr. And Green was all over Sherfield. Sherfield made the catch still. Green had his jersey, Sherfield's, and wouldn't let go. Sherfield didn't take kindly turned around, spun around, gave a little bit of the push. O'Connell doesn't like fighting. We didn't get a punch. It was disappointing in that vein. But I thought it was interesting. I like to see the fire. I got to admit, it's football. I like to see it. So 2 guys battling, definitely in Green's case for a roster spot. I think Sherfield's pretty secure because, again, he is a really good special teams player and downfield blocker. But nonetheless, we got some fire in the mild heat, not too bad, at TCO yesterday.
And it's fair to say it's still way too early to even handicap the number 3 wide receiver power rankings. I mean, we know who's kind of getting some run. It's like, when I was there the first day, it was Naylor, it was Powell just running with the 2s. It was Lucky Jackson, Tristan Jackson.
Yeah. I would say right now, if you were to put Sportsdad on the spot and say, do a depth chart, just do it right now. I don't care. I would handicap it as Powell is the top option right now. And I'm fine with that. Naylor's getting a lot of run, and the Jacksons are going to get some run here, including, and this is why hopefully Tristan Jackson's fine, because I think he's got a chance. But I will remind you, I would not be surprised at all if opening day Powell and Sherfield are on the team, but neither one of them. And Sherfield was a 3 receiver at one point, I think, with the Dolphins, but wouldn't be surprised if neither of them are actually the 3, and the 3 is from the group that we just talked about as well.
Yeah. Judd's camp notes.
Tracking snaps now.
Yeah. Are we going to keep tracking snaps here
keep
for
trying,
the next few practices?
because I really think that is the most intriguing thing here, just as far as how are you going to what I'm curious about far more than like the completions or the incompletions. I'm very curious about O'Connell's plan for how he's going to prepare both guys and get them enough work. Mm-hmm. But as I said, I think the Darnold with the first team and the McCarthy with the second team, but the reps being very, very close to equal, that definitely is part of the plan. It looks like it is.
Just a quick, since it is Feedback Friday, Mark chimes in here and says, why were they so high, meaning I think us, especially Declan, on Thayer Thomas, by the way.
Staff too.
But he doesn't get reps. No, he's getting reps. He's just not like getting second team reps. It's also the second day of practice. You're not going to go from being like UDFA, off the roster guy to just taking second team reps day 2 of practice.
So let's explain this too, because it's a good question. But I think there's an answer here that makes perfect sense. When a team's excited about a guy that they, and let's just say a UDFA, and they bring in that guy, and they're like, this guy is really good, we're excited. It doesn't mean they're going to start camp or even hell throughout the first course of their season ever be like legitimate depth chart threats.
Yeah.
Like they're going to get work, but they're not
they're developing guys.
Developing, exactly. The one place where that probably changes a little bit, preseason games. Because I don't know that Brandon Powell needs a ton of work because you sort of know him. Like, it's not like, oh my God, we didn't know this. You are the next Randy Moss. So it's a good question, but just keep in mind when teams are excited about young players that they sign, it's often for the purposes of, we think this guy could be good, but they're not going to step in and take a primary role.
Yeah. So, we'll keep you posted on the Mr. Mankato portion of the roster here. We all have a vested interest with our drafted teams. I don't know about that.
Caught a gorgeous pass from JJ.
I saw him drop a couple on the first practice. Saw him bobble one.
I don't talk about it.
Didn't see Lucky Jackson bobble any. I'll tell you that much.
About any of this.
So, okay, before we get to a few Feedback Friday questions, comments, takes, etc., and then a snake draft of the week, 2 things for next week, show-related or Score North related. We'll start with this one. On Tuesday next week, so Tuesday, July 30th, we are holding a Score North Twin Show trade deadline watch party that can also, by the way, be a Purple Daily hangout as well. The spirit is going to be Twins trade deadline. We're going to be just on microphones in-house taking questions, but we can also mix in Vikings training camp stuff too. So consider it a Score North hangout at Park Tavern on Tuesday, July 30th at 4 p.m. in the 11th Frame area. If you were at the draft party a couple years ago, you know that area in the back of Park Tavern plus the patio. So 4 o'clock Tuesday, 5 p.m. is the trade deadline. 6 p.m. Twins Mets, and yes, they do have the game on TV.
Bally Sports North. It's gonna be great. I can watch a game.
So Park Tavern's the official sports bar of the sports dad, Judd.
And that means a place where that not only has the 11th frame, but also has bowling, has 2 bars, not one, and it is a fantastic place to throw a party. And I'm not talking a party for 5. I'm not talking some little party. I'm talking an event. ParkTavern.net. Cheryl and Phil will take care of you. They are fantastic. Park Tavern is your place to host your big event, family or company.
So next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, come hang out, cheers a drink with us, talk some Minnesota sports. And then also all of next week, in fact, this opens up on Sunday, so we want to give you guys a heads up. It's our annual Score North Power of Sports auction benefiting the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute, which we'll tell you more about next week. But Courage Kenny works with children and adults who experience life-altering injuries and disabilities and helps them get back on track as much as possible. And all week long at scorenorth.com/auction, we have several great experiences to either buy or bid on. Our goal is to raise at least $15,000 throughout the week. You can check them out. I think all of the items are up right now. They're not available to bid or buy, but you can scope it out at scorenorth.com/auction. All of the money goes to benefit the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute. So thank you in advance for supporting. Whenever we ask something of the audience, you guys always deliver. And so hopefully it can be a fun week next week where we raise some money for some good causes. Gentlemen?
Absolutely.
Okay, Feedback Friday. Let's do it. We'll do a few here, and then we'll just do like a separate episode that we can post tomorrow too for a Saturday, because there's a lot of good feedback questions. But Chris Manson chimes in and says, guys, I'm working long days in 100-degree heat in Oklahoma. I'm a Vikings fan. The humidity turned up to 10 every day. Then the training camp notes episode started dropping, and immediately nothing but Vikings football matters. Some mixture of Judd and Mackey's camp notes with my energy drink has me so jacked up for the season. Darnold for MVP, KOC for Coach of the Year, 2,000 yards for Jets, Kwesi for President, LFG, wave the flag. Let's go.
For that, I'll wave the flag. Thank you for your hard work, man.
I love football fans. That does not exist in any other sport, in my opinion.
Oh.
This type of just optimism, and yes, he's probably being a little cheeky to a degree, but in general, he believes those things can happen, which is awesome.
I like the fact that a guy who is working his ass off, which Sports Dad doesn't really do. I like it that I can help his day, or that we can help his day. That's what I like. That's
our goal here, really, is just to make you laugh while you're grinding your job or walking on your treadmill at your stand-up desk or whatever you're doing.
Right in front of your TV watching us. Back up a little bit, though. Don't hurt your eyes.
Your hands, yeah.
Put your eyes out.
Okay, Peter McFleeter chimes in and says, I'm cautiously optimistic about the Vikings' future, but I do think it's far more likely the Vikings season falls off the rails fast than it is that they start 6-2. Yeah. So I want to hear now, before the season starts, from you guys, if the Vikings start, say, 2-6 or 1-7, do you think you'll start calling for head coach, general manager changes, or will you be happy to let this thing play out as part of a grander plan?
I think we've talked about this a little bit already. Personally, at least, I think it has to play out. I think it has to. This season is not, how can I phrase this? It's not a referendum on record. It's a referendum on development.
But if they're 1-7, would that be part of the
here's
referendum
my question.
No.
Well, but here's the question then. So this is the talker, and it's sort of what I tried to bring up on Monday in the Kwesi and Kevin press conference. At 1-7, is there pressure to make the change at quarterback? That becomes the $1 million question.
Yeah, because KOC can sit up there all he wants on July 25th, 26th, and say, no external factors, record, ownership, fans, media, none of it matters. The development track of McCarthy is over here. Everything else is over there until you're 2-6, until Sam Darnold has 4 touchdowns to 9 interceptions or something, which I don't think he will, but We talk about all the scenarios. I mean, I'm going to give them a lot of grace in 2024. If it's a train wreck, they don't just get like a free pass, obviously.
It's how it looks.
Yeah, it's how it looks.
It's total eye test.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they lose a ton of close games and Darnold is bad, my personal opinion will be it's disappointing they couldn't develop him, but they're not the first team. If they get blown out and Kevin O'Connell in game is making decisions and we're all like, what are you doing? That's a different story. But I also think the most important story then is there a pressure from the Wilfs? Hey, why don't we put McCarthy in there? Because look, when you're bad and your fan base starts to turn and now fans they bought the tickets, but they don't necessarily show up to games, that's a different ball game there. So that's what I'm curious about. But if O'Connell is doing a good job and they just lose close games, but the problem too is this, Phil, the GM and coach are going into year 3 of 4-year contracts, unless they've been promised extensions, like Dukes alluded to as a possibility, or unless they sign extensions soon. That is an inherent pressure that we can't just dismiss.
I want to see them be competitive. Now, there are some platforms, sportsbooks, ESPN's FPI, that don't project the Vikings to be favored in any game in their first 8 games of the season.
Yeah.
But also, football games tend to be close. So just because you're on, again, July 26th, projected to not be favored in any of your first 8 games, that doesn't mean you have a free pass to go 1-7 or 2-6. This team has enough talent, unless there's more injuries coming down the pipe.
Right.
That can obviously change this entire conversation. But this team has enough talent to be competitive.
Right.
I want to see them put up a fight, be competitive, and make it feel like going into the 2025 offseason, like they're a defensive tackle, a cornerback, and like another year of J.J. McCarthy away from maybe getting into the playoffs and starting to do some damage.
And this is why you need to strengthen your cornerback room by signing a veteran. That's my point. This doesn't feel like, or it shouldn't be, a 2 or 3 win team, right? So like right now, you are literally down how many potential starting corners? Kwesi has to go do something. So if you don't do that, I think I raise more of an eyebrow at him as far as, okay, why not? Like you are in a position here where I don't expect you again to be great, but can you win 8 games, 9 games if things go right? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. The other thing to keep an eye on here that's going to be very intriguing as we break down and talk about potentially who's going to win the 3rd wide receiver job is the potential timing, and we have no idea when, of a Jordan Addison suspension. Because I think it's coming at some point. I just don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be in 2024, 25. But I mean, the league is pretty harsh, and he is on strike too. And this one was pretty bad. Yeah. So that's going to impact that room huge, because if he's out for 3 games, Justin Jefferson's going to get triple covered.
Yeah. By the way, I should do this more often. I just forget to ask the new listeners and viewers of the show. If you haven't already, please click the like button and the subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. We're crawling our way to 50,000 subscribers, which we hope to hit sometime this season. So if you haven't already gotten in and clicked that subscribe button and the like button to help spread the word about this live Friday edition, please do so, and maybe tell some of your Vikings fan friends that aren't part of the Purple Daily Club yet to jump on board. Okay, Caleb Van Omberg, I believe it's pronounced, says the Vikings currently have around $20 million in cap space for this year, so they've got a cushion. Can you guys explain what happens to that $20-ish million if they don't spend it this year? So here's the quick summary. This is a great question that I think is worth just touching on quick. So NFL teams are allowed to roll over cap space with one caveat. Well, 2 caveats, I guess. Right after the season's over, you have to tell the league office, hey, this unused cap space, we would like to roll it into next year's salary cap. And 2, in a 4-year window, like a rolling 4-year window, you have to spend at least 89% of the cap. So there's a floor. And if in any 4-year window you are spending less than 89% of your salary cap, then what you have to do is cut the difference in checks to all the players that were playing for those teams for 4 years. So that's kind of the way it works. There's a salary cap. It's a hard cap, but then there's a floor over a 4-year rolling period of 89%. So, yeah, like the Vikings, if they didn't want to go get cornerback depth or sign anybody, they could take the $20 million, tell the league the day after the season's over, hey, we want to roll that into 2025, and then they would just have more money to spend in March of 2025.
Interesting. Capologist.
Yeah.
Phil Mackey.
I mean, I did some research.
No,
I
no.
didn't just pull that off the top of my head.
I'll be
Come on,
honest.
Rob Brzezinski, what are you
was
doing?
on that.
Just to credit the internet for helping me research
Credit
the
internet.
details of the
Come on.
answer.
Come on, Brzezinski, what are you doing?
Like, we knew they could roll it over, but like the 89%
Right.
over 4 years,
Right.
credit to the internet. And then Nate Smith says, my 8-year-old son and I are heading up for the night practice on August 5th. I think that's next Saturday. 2 questions for you guys. 1, we are getting to Egan around noon that day. Any good places for lunch? There's like tons of restaurants in Egan.
Yeah,
I don't know the landscape
Egan at
that
all.
well. I mean, Declan's the suburb guy now. Like, are there any?
Yeah.
You ever roll through Egan?
Not really. I picked up a nephew and niece in Egan at daycare, not too far from TCO 2 days ago. I would have to do some research on this because I don't really spend time in Egan.
I wish it was like, oh man, here's the 5 best restaurants you have to eat at in Egan. I don't.
If I go
have that list
if I
off
go
the top.
left, there's a Jimmy John's. If I go right, there's a Subway and a gas station, and that's basically, unfortunately, all I know.
Yeah, I mean, if depending on where you're coming from, if you're getting there at noon for the night practice, there's not a lot really going on until like
Are you gonna send them to
5
the mall?
o'clock. Well, I mean, go
You're not
anywhere.
far from the Mall of America.
I love the Mall of America.
There's a place for fun.
And
Get some steps in.
They also have the Outlets Mall in Egan. So they have all the outlet malls are also there. You can get some discount stuff too.
Jeff says there's a Carboni's pizza in
Carboni's.
Egan. If that's the case, I mean, there's Carboni's
Antonio's
in a
got
few
one,
places.
too,
It's
right
a
below
great
that.
spot. Let's see here. Wildcats is a great
All
place
right.
in Egan. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Jesse
Quick Trip.
C. James says, go eat at Quick
Jesse
Trip.
James, thank you very much. Thank you,
That's
Jesse.
great stuff, man.
Wish I had thought of that.
And then his second question is, what are the things to be sure to bring or do at training camp? Want to make sure my 8-year-old son has a great time. Now, ordinarily for the day practices, there's a position group signing autographs, but for the night practice, it's a little different. So they have Victor, the Viking mascot, signing autographs from 5:30 to 6:15, and then there's various Vikings legends signing autographs from 6 until 6:45. So you can get in line beforehand.
If I'm not mistaken, though, there are activities around the practice field, and the night practice is held in the main stadium. One of the few, if only, practices that they'll hold in that stadium. And there's like places to go throw footballs. There's things for kids. So I would say,
where do they put that? It's like a family fun zone, but when they're practicing in the stadium, do they just disperse those things?
there's stuff
out
off
and around?
So if you are coming in from the parking lots, I think I think the stadium is to your right, just sort of off to your right a little bit, and then there's fun zone stuff in front of you. But there's a lot to do. There's stuff.
I would say in general, like the best part about night practice is the night practice because you get to watch football. It's dusk. I think they generally make it like accessible and fun to watch for fans. They'll cut it loose. You'll see a bunch of long passes and stuff.
Be a PA announcer and stuff.
Yeah, it'll
Hype
be
man or woman.
Go get a seat and make sure that you're. If it was like a 5-year-old, I'd say you're probably not going to sit there for 2 hours and watch practice. But with an 8-year-old, I think the 8-year-old would
fun.
appreciate
And it's football.
watching
Just
football practice.
Tell your son, you know what? Football's about suffering. Let's go sit on these metal bleachers and burn up until practice starts. No water.
There's some other feedback questions and comments, but let's put a pause on that portion so we can get to our snake draft of the week, and we'll do another episode that we can post for maybe tomorrow, just taking some more of your feedback. Judd's Camp Notes was so great and so meaty today that it's hard to squeeze everything in on these
Sponsored by
Friday
Quick Trip.
episodes.
Camp
That's
Notes
right.
sponsored by Quick. And don't forget, too, you can find more of my camp coverage, boys, at my new Substack page. judzolgad.substack.com. I've got a quarterback column right now up.
Beautiful.
Subscribe. Help me out. Thanks, folks.
Now, there are 5 Red Cow locations in the Twin Cities. So I guess like back to that question,
Right.
just go find one of the Red Cow locations and go get a great lunch there. There's one in Rochester and 5 in the Twin Cities. I tend to go to the one in the North Loop, Minneapolis, the most frequently, but some of the best burgers you're going to find in the Twin Cities, some of the best snacks and appetizers, even chicken sandwiches are on point.
Oh,
There's the ahi tuna crisps right there. Yeah,
That's right.
you guys all mock them till you try them.
no, not there. We don't mock them.
Is Red Cow not a bar? Is it not bar food to eat those beautiful ahi tuna crisps?
I don't consider it to be a bar like we were talking about in that particular
It's not
sense.
a dive bar.
It's not a dive bar at all. It's very, very nice. Great beer selection, though. I do agree with that.
Yeah, 36 beers on tap, local brews, craft cocktails. You can belly up to the bar where there's TVs for watching your favorite sporting events. Check them out, Red Cow, and check out in the archives the Purple Over Beers episodes we've done at Red Cow. Also, our friends at Federated Insurance are helping us power this upcoming snake draft. As a business owner, do you have a game plan in place to stay focused on safety and preventing claims? Let the team at Federated support your business. They're like a great offensive line protecting your business. Experience going back to 1904. They're based in Owatonna, Minnesota. They are one of us, so to speak. Federatedinsurance.com to find out more. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. Okay. It's time for the snake draft of the week here. 3 rounds, and the listeners have sent some incredible suggestions. We probably have like a year's worth of suggestions here that we're stockpiling. But this one for today actually comes from RG3's Twitter account. He asked a question about sports movie coaches. And so today's snake draft is the best sports movie coaches of all time. And it could either be fictional characters from a movie, or it could be like based on true events.
Sure.
If there's a movie, there's one hockey movie in particular that might have a candidate. And so just going off last week's snake draft order and running the rotations one step, I get the first pick this week. Judd gets the second pick. Dex gets the wraparound in this snake draft. Are we ready?
I am. I got my first win last week. I feel good.
Yeah, nice job, Dex.
I
Congratulations.
got one win myself, but I think it might have been the first one.
So you're in a little bit of a slump here.
Well, you know what? It's subjective. Sometimes, yes. On something like this, it's going to depend on people's ages when they vote, right?
Yeah.
Like there's going to be some that love my list. There'll be some kids that don't but love your list. So we'll see.
So this is tough. Like I feel like the first overall pick here is a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like necessarily an
pressure.
obvious one, but I'm gonna go with a guy.
Here's a guy.
Who battled quarterback drama. He battled a political climate that was unfriendly. He battled racism. He battled his captain on defense was paralyzed halfway through the season.
It's a great pick. Yeah.
The pressure of living up to the expectations of the program, also dealing with the former coach trying to sabotage him during just the seams are being pulled at the entire season. And yet Coach Boone from Remember the Titans brought everyone together.
Yes.
I'll take Coach Boone, Denzel Washington from Remember the Titans with my first overall pick. Just a steady hand during a time of turmoil.
All right, that paves the way for me to take a pick. I was going to ask you about if we could take characters based on real people, but the answer is yes. And so that makes my pick very, very simple. You alluded to this, Phil. But Kurt Russell playing Herb Brooks in Miracle was so spot on. So spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And it, look, the speech, you'll take it to your effing grave. Everything about that. I mean, it's a great film. It's fantastic. Not too proud to admit I cried. Not ashamed of that. I cried. I still cry. Who do you play for?
A bruise on the thigh is a long way from the heart.
Jim Craig looking for his dad in the stands kills me every time.
I saw that in real time, dude. I remember seeing that. They showed it on TV. He's got the flag around his shoulders, and you can see him saying, "Where's my dad? Where's my dad?"
Elite Feet says such a typical Judd pick in the comments.
It is a typical Judd pick.
Yeah.
It's a great pick, though. He's
Elite Feet, I got news for you. I'm really predictable. I'm really predictable. So anyway, Kurt Russell is Herb Brooks and Miracle, my choice. Dex?
Hey, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I said movies. Some people are asking about TV show coaches because there's some
Yeah, that
prominent.
counts.
Are we?
That
Does
counts.
it? I feel that's a different. I feel like that's a different.
There's a couple on the board. I will tell you right now, none of them will be picked by me.
We'll say sports movie or TV coaches.
Okay.
Moving forward
Yeah.
here for AJ, I think putting together a graphic for
That
social.
changes my thinking a little bit. Okay.
Minnesota State.
No.
Yeah,
no.
coach. I mean,
No, that's
Friday
not
Night
what
Lights. I don't really care for Friday Night Lights, but that is also an option there.
Oh, really? People
With
love that.
my first pick, because these were, I feel like those first two were locks in some type of order between Coach Boone and Herb Brooks. And the third pick for me, in my first pick, because I get back to back here, I will take Gordon Bombay.
Yep.
I will
Oh.
take Bombay.
Wow.
Give me Bombay.
Surprised?
Well, so we did a sports movie review on Mighty Ducks like 3 years ago. Movie reviews with Mackie and Judd podcast feed, if you want to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a terrible coach. First of all, like ego, the way he yells and screams, he's kind of a front runner. I don't know, man. He only took the job because he had to from the drunk driving incident,
Being totally upfront, when I saw that this was going to be the snake draft, I never thought I'm going to avoid terrible coaches.
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
So that's just me.
just
fair.
some strategy involved here, and I'll share it with both of you guys because I don't care. You also got to play the hits here a little bit. You can't just be playing individual. That's what I've learned with the snake drafts too. You can't just be taking the complete individual things that you personally like. You also have to identify
But you're
some
trying to
with the
win.
audience.
Okay.
Yeah, try to win.
I don't really care if I win or not. I just want to.
I care.
I just like my list.
I care.
So Declan's playing the provincial Minnesota. Okay,
Yeah.
well, two can play at that game. Okay. Two can play at that game.
All right.
And so
second
Dex gets
one.
the first pick in the second round.
Okay. You could call this a reach, but I love this guy. Here, I'm going to go against my thinking because I took Bombay with that thing. I'll do my own one for the second one. With my second pick, give me Chubbs from Happy Gilmore.
Okay, yeah.
Give me Chubbs. He's
a
Happy
coach.
Gilmore's coach.
He's a swing coach.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Give me Chubbs Peterson as my second pick in the best sports coaches.
Just tap it in.
Tap it in.
Just give it a little tappy. A little
He just died.
taparoo.
He did.
He
That's
did.
great.
Yeah. Legend, man.
Yep.
Chubbs. He was also in some. Wasn't he in like Predator?
Yep.
Yes.
And then obviously Rocky.
Jesse.
Apollo Creed. Yeah. Okay, we're back to Judd here for his second pick.
Okay. So here's where I'm going to stay in the sport of hockey. I'm going to stay totally predictable. And I'm going to take a guy that might not have been a great coach, but he willed his team to a championship before they folded.
Yeah.
And that would be Reg Dunlop, Slapshot, played by the late and legendary Paul Newman. Player coach who motivated his players. They got a goon. They got 3 goons, and they went from being a team that was awful and going to fold to a team that was a champion in its league and still folded. And then Reg, of course, for all of you who watched the end of Slapshot know that he went on to coach the Minnesota Nighthawks.
I thought Judd was going to do this with his first picks. He loves Slapshot so much.
Yeah. He was definitely taking Reg Dunlop, 100%.
Yes, and neither of us would.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's subjective. Exactly. It's subjective.
You could say it's even a reach because he went. You probably could have cleared this with your third pick because I don't think Dex or I were going to.
I wasn't going to wait. I owe it.
You just
I
took
owe
a
it to
kicker
Reg.
in the second round.
I
here.
owe it to Reg.
Okay, it's back to me here for the last pick in the second round, then my final pick, first pick in the third round. I was getting, you know what? I'm actually not going to do what Declan did. I was going to go provincial. I'm going to have to wait on that, or maybe just discard it. I'm going to go Ted Lasso since we're opening up for TV shows here.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso. Think about this.
It's going to help you.
The guy moves from American football across the pond to coach soccer, not knowing any of the strategy or terminology, just believing in himself as a leader and a communicator and an inspirational figure in people's lives. And Ted Lasso brings this sorry-ass franchise, not to spoil the show, to new heights. So Ted Lasso, come on down. I feel like that's kind of a steal with the last pick in the second round. Ted Lasso.
I like Beard more personally. I'll tell you, I'm not going to draft Beard, but I like Beard too.
I wouldn't have taken Ted.
Beard's a good guy.
So, you wouldn't have taken Ted?
No, Judd wouldn't.
Personally, I wouldn't have.
No,
it's fine.
For you, it's great.
Okay, with my last pick, and there's a lot of great options.
There are.
Board here.
It's gonna be a long.
I'm gonna go with a guy.
Here's a guy
that took a group of unathletic ragtag randoms who'd never played this particular sport before. I'm going to go Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball.
God!
Patches O'Houlihan. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. They open up a magazine and see there's they need $50,000 to pay for the gym.
That's a good pick.
Where are we going to get $50,000? Well, there's a dodgeball world championship in Las Vegas.
Yep.
I can't believe.
Well, we've never played dodgeball. Patches O'Houlihan. Now, and then he died, spoiler alert, right before the championship game, but he had inspired them and taught them so much that they carried on without him.
It's a good pick.
Patches O'Houlihan.
Declan is so pissed off right now.
I
I took
just
something
snipe
last
one from
week
you?
that sniped you as well. Oh, no, in the Mr. Mankato draft.
Yeah, Thayer
I took
Thomas.
Thayer Thomas, and you were all ticked off about it. You've had a rough week. You had that. You had your unfortunate Kenny Rogers loss and random to win.
Yeah, it has been a rough week.
Dude.
It's been a very rough week in the game department of Score North programming.
All right.
So now Judd's back on the clock with his last pick as Declan scrambles to figure out what he's going to do.
Scrambling. I'm just upset. The scouts did their job. It's just we were anticipating that happening.
All right, my final pick. Again, a pick of a not great coach, but a guy who mirrors me and a guy that you guys would never draft, but that's okay. I'm going with the esteemed Morris Buttermaker, Walter Matthau from Bad News Bears. The original, not the secondary crap. The original. Who used to have a cooler of beer while coaching his baseball team. And turned a ragtag team that was terrible into a team that beat the Yankees in the Little League Championship in that town. I don't know which one. Morris Buttermaker, who reminds me of myself a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like we could do a snake draft on just coaches who took a ragtag bunch or
That's how it
person
works.
and elevated them, right?
Absolutely. Ted Lasso.
Like Little
right?
Giants with, is it the O'Shea brothers or whatever?
I mean, that's always the start. That's the story, right?
Yeah,
like when you sit down to
bumbling
write the
team,
script, it can't be,
ragtaggers.
I'm taking a great team, and then I'm going to. It can be.
I'm
but
taking
often
over
not.
for Nick Saban, and my job is to not let the program pull through. And that brings us to Declan here with the final pick in this snake draft.
All right, a lot of options here. Because I took with my second pick, I took Chubbs. I took the fun-loving character there. I was going to round things out, but I also just really, really loved him. And I am seeing some Jackie Moon, who I also really strongly considered here as well, who I love in semi-pro. I'm going to take Lou Brown.
He's on my list.
Major League.
Major League. I'm going to take
my
Lou
list.
Brown. I'm going to have, I have Gordon Bombay. I have the young, sexy pick, I think, there with my first selection. I got Chubbs, who's the funny one, and then I got the serious coach. I got Lou Brown. So give me Lou Brown from Major League to round things out.
Lou Brown, Lou Brown had some heart problems in one of those. Was it the second one? He had like a heart attack at one point in one of those.
Must have been the second one.
Watching from the hospital, but there it is. Okay, so here are the results. So Judd goes with Herb Brooks from Miracle, Reg Dunlop from Slapshot, and Morris Buttermaker, right?
Morris
from
Buttermaker,
Bad News Bears.
Suck. Yep.
So Judd going old school. Declan goes with Gordon Bombay from Mighty Ducks, Chubbs from Happy Gilmore, and Lou Brown from Major League. And rounding it out, I go with Coach Boone from Remember the Titans, Ted Lasso from Ted Lasso, and Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball. The voting will start sometime in the next 30 minutes on the Score North Twitter account, and you can vote for whichever team you think is the best.
Lot of Coach Carter snubs here. That's
Really?
my generation loves that movie. I like Coach Carter.
That's fine. It's
and
not even his best
it's an
coaching
awesome
role.
story. It's just I like the other movies and the coaches more. Is kind of just where I'm at.
But
here.
if you had taken him, Declan, you probably
I would have.
could
I
win
thought
this.
about it.
You
I
could
thought
win
about
this.
it.
See, I don't know. Like, are you in this to take your favorites or to try and
It's a
win
little
the
bit
vote?
of both. You have.
I don't
you
really
have,
care about the vote.
You got to marry the run with the pass, baby. You can't just be a
I just want to go
one-dimensional
home
pony
happy
here.
with my. I can look at myself right now in this screen without any embarrassment because of my coaches.
I think there's
we
a
know.
couple major snubs besides
Oh,
Coach Carter
God,
too.
yeah. Very
First of all,
much.
for a Minnesota-based group of guys here and large of the audience, Billy Haywood was a 12-year-old Major League
I'm
Baseball
shocked you
manager
guys didn't take-
that brought
I'm-
them to a game 163.
I'm shocked that one of you two didn't take Billy.
And then Mr. Miyagi helped a scrawny, nerdy kid who couldn't defend himself become like the best fighter in Southern California.
Yeah,
So Mr. Miyagi deserved maybe a little bit more love there.
that's true
But
too.
yeah.
The next guy on my list was actually Jimmy Dugan. Tom
Jimmy
Hanks. Yeah, Jimmy Dugan was great.
Jimmy was good. Good drunk.
Oh, he was a
It's
great,
great
drunk.
drunk. Yeah. So there it is. That's the snake
Mickey
draft
from
of the
Rocky.
week. Mickey
Shocked
from
you
Rocky.
didn't- I'm shocked you didn't take him.
Ooh, that's a good
Me?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big Rocky guy. I might have taken actually Apollo Creed for the job he did coaching Rocky in Rocky 3 more than even Mickey.
Oh, sure. That's a good one, too.
Kind of resuscitated Rocky's
Or-
boxing career.
Can you include Rocky as the coach? Obviously.
For Creed, Adonis Creed.
Yeah. Do that, too.
Yeah,
Because
we might have to do like a 10-rounder
UFAs.
here.
Yeah.
So those are the best sports or TV, sports movie or TV coaches, according to us here on Purple Daily. All right, boys. Judd's camp notes never rests. So he'll be back at it over the weekend. We'll do a big roundup on Monday, but also we'll hit you with some more feedback tomorrow. Dex has Event Line this weekend. And be sure to check out also the Score North Twin Show, which has been on fire lately. I think it was like 30th in the Apple Baseball Podcast rankings. We just brought that show back
Way to go, Dex.
last year. So Dex rocking it. And then Flagrant Howls, Judd's Hockey Show, Royce Unchained. Score North, we got you covered here. We'll see you guys. Tuesday at Park Tavern, too. Don't forget, at 4 o'clock.